putting a discursive message of their own into visitors' perceptual field. That's good stuff. And then the whole permanence and change stuff is, again, Smith's replacement with a more official institutionalized memory also calls to mind the notion of permanence and change. On the one hand, everything about Smith's counter-moral suggests his vernacular, ethereal quality, all of her materials, blah, 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 blah. If the evidence of our eye suggests anything, it is that the momentum of this contest has shifted dramatically in favor of institutionalized memory. And in holding the magnifying glass up to this process, we witness memory's imminent death as much as we do its life. And that is how the ebb and flow of different memories. There was dissonance, there was a clash. Smith was trying to get her point across. The museum pushed her away to create a sense of harmony. We'll see what happens. Who knows? Can there be more change? It's just this constant ebb and flow of public memory. That's sort of what permanence and change means from my vantage point with my cool computer classes and delicious Diet Coke. Again, I would highly urge you to go see Man of Steel, which I have not seen. Actually, I would recommend Superman 1. Came out in 1978. Brilliant. Okay, and then the last bit, 14, At in Memory's Wake. And by the way, I really like how this is written. And there's a lot of first few quotes that are really important that I'll sort of let you look at. This whole idea of issues of forgetting and the bliss of amnesia, enlightened false consciousness. That's some great stuff, because basically this is the whole point of the whole damn class. What I'm wanting you to do, the whole big takeaway from all this stuff is that, hell, I'll read it because it's so important. We need to discriminate among memory practices in order to strengthen those that counteract the tendencies in our culture to foster uncreative forgetting, the bliss of amnesia, and what the German philosopher Peter Stoller once called enlightened false consciousness. We are not critical about stuff. We go to various tours and go, oh, this is so neat. We don't think critically about the irony of displacement. Like for instance, why did the Magnolia, plantation garden? Why they started gardening in the first place? Was it really to woo that woman? Hell no. He wanted to make money because he lost all his slaves. He had to lose his slaves. It's emancipation. Do you think he would have done that without emancipation? Without the hell no. They would have been there. They'd still be selling Carolina gold. They'd still be planting the rice. By the way, if you've ever seen Confederate States of America, it's a mockumentary. A mockumentary is a documentary that's a mock. It's all about what would have happened if the Confederacy had won the Civil War. And in contemporary times, the author, who's an African-American film studies professor at some university, I don't know where, but basically slavery still would exist. But be critical about this stuff. What are we forgetting when we go to these various places? That's very, very important. And then, one of the things I thought was interesting is, does every museum need a Jacqueline Smith, a spoiler, to stimulate the critical faculties of visitors? And the answer, he says, is no. And you can sort of look more about that. Sometimes, museums will offer the critical lens for you, or they're strategically sort of put those dissonant voices in there. But maybe you can be your own Jacqueline Smith. You can be so critical that even when you're going to a place that you think is, gosh, this is great, this is wonderful, this is celebrating civil rights and the history of civil rights in the United States, how could that be bad? But always question things. Always be skeptical. Don't be cynical like me, but skeptical. Who won? Who loses here. So that's always important to think about. And then the last paragraph is solid gold. Read it over and over again. I love this last paragraph. Finnegan, come listen to this. Finnegan, come here. I'm going to read this last paragraph to Finnegan. You ready for this? You ready for this? This is going to, you're all stretchy. This is going to knock your socks off, Finnegan. Even though you don't wear socks. Yeah. On September 28th, 2002, the newly expanded National Civil Rights Museum officially opened its doors to the public. On that day, Jaclyn Smith observed the grand opening festivities from her new protest site, the irony hanging in the air. "This is a day of victory and triumph," proclaimed Museum Board member Benjamin Hooks. "We celebrate those who have gone without so we might move forward. We stand upon their shoulders. And so indeed we shall see what will become of his dreams." That's really good. Oh, this is the other part that I thought was really good. Before that, the original site of her, this is Jaclyn Smith again, the original site of her counter memorial might have been bad for the museum's business, but to the extent that it encouraged citizens to exercise their capacity for critical thought, it was good for humanity. That's awesome. I love that. Okay, yay, Jaclyn Smith. She's one of my new heroes. Now, so far as the critical probes that I've offered you to look at the Gola tour, and again, one of the things I say here on the critical probes, you know, are you going to find this stuff? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It's just questions. Critical probes are like, you know, putting on these sort of glasses. This is the sort of the critical mindset that I want you to be in as you're going on the online stuff, whether looking at the sites, if you're doing the Charleston tour thing, or wherever you're going. So basically, I give you a website you can go to on the second slide here that I put up this morning, with another picture of me in front of the museum with the nest on my face. Not only are there peacocks, but there are also squirrels. So the critical probes here, is there anything you can see about both the creation of a certain memory, but also maybe a destruction? Is there? And I don't know the answer to that question, but it's just something to put. I mean, do the Gola tours create a certain public memory of something, but also in some way erase or destroy other possible memories, particularly when it comes to issues of race, slavery, and Gola culture? Are there any sort of counter memorials to any of the sort of the official Gola memory or tours? Are there, and again, more vernacular, non-official stuff? Does the tour put anyone else on the periphery, both physically and literally? Is there something about any of these tours that, in order to celebrate Gola culture and everything like that, displace people of color? I don't know, but there's just something to think about if you were doing this type of study, you know, or as you sort of were going through the tour. Is it a sort of an experiential landscape, and perhaps or contained by any set physical space? Now, the stuff that you could do. Well, what I'm going to do is go site by site by site, just sort of read some stuff. I mean, if you're really doing it, obviously you would take this 2-hour bus tour, and so you are moving around, and of course the bus driver's going to have stories and everything like that, but it would be interesting to actually, maybe you can't answer this, but it might be interesting to actually take the tour at some point in your life. Are there any sort of simulated sites or anything like that? But I just don't know the answer to that question. Again, these are all just questions, things to sort of ponder while you're doing the tour. And then again, is there a counter protest? Does the Gola tour displace anything? Is there any sort of dissonant body or bodies that become themselves protest against whatever the official memory might be, which I don't know what that is yet. Was anybody kicked out? Does it have to relocate people, or does the bus not go certain places? That's actually interesting. Where does it not go? That's interesting. Is there anything that the tour does that would be part of gentrification, or say something that poor people of color or poor people generally are bad for business? Is there anything in the tour that makes the tour sort of more of a money maker than anything else? So less about complex, critical discussions about issues of race and class and equality and all that stuff. So just another little money maker. And then again, I don't know what the answers are here. These are just probes. These are just sort of little ways of thinking about things to help you sort of come up with critical interpretations. Now, of course, this is one of the many different types of critical probes that you could use, or set of critical probes for your own paper. And again, let me know how I can help with your paper. The stuff I've read so far, again, really good starts, but make sure you follow very explicitly my instructions, and hopefully that paragraph by paragraph description of what I'm wanting would be very, very helpful. This is the last chapter that we're reading. Don't forget to do all that other stuff. I will have more, maybe one more recorded lecture that's sort of a course closure. But as it stands right now, once you read Chapter 7, and once you send me an email about Chapter 7, once you tweet about the Gullah tour and blog about the Gullah tour, the rest of what you need to be doing for this class is just writing, polishing up that paper. Thanks very much, and have a wonderful day.